Hello, everyone, and welcome to this new episode of People of Clubhouse. My guest today is Mark Deeks. He's a professional pianist. His clients include BBC and Disney, and he has so much to share with us today on how music can improve our mental health. Mark, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to speak to as many people about this subject as possible. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you, Mark. And I would love to start from the very beginning. How did you start loving music? Did you start piano lessons when you were a child, for example? What made you love music?
Yeah, there was a piano in my house when I was a child. My mum and dad had tried to play previously when they were young, a bit younger, but had never really been very successful at it. But the piano was still in the house. And apparently when I was a very young boy, I was fascinated by the fact that I could reach up to the keys and make a sound. And that's one of the great things about piano, is that it's one of the easiest instruments in the world to at least get a sound out of. And so for young children, and even for adults, it's good to encourage them to just explore it. And so, yeah, I used to reach up and hit the keys, make a sound. Apparently I was quite entertained by that. And so when I was 5 years old, my parents decided to give me a try, give me a go at getting some lessons with a local teacher, just to see how I got on. They didn't want to force me to do it. It wasn't like I was made to do it, but they just thought they'd see how it went on. And I took to it really quickly. And whilst there are a lot of life skills that I'm pretty useless at, I get lost very easily, and I'm not very good at DIY. I can't fix things, but the piano seems to work pretty well for me. So yeah, me and the piano have always got on very well.
Amazing. Actually, I love music myself, and I can play, but I have never been taught music. I can't read notes, but I can sing and I can play also. And it is an amazing world. It takes you away from everything. So when did you start connecting your talent in playing piano to mental health? Where did that connection start?
So that's a really good question. And my honest answer is only quite recently. So I'm now 43 years old. So I've been a musician all my life. And I was teaching piano right back when I was 15. So as I said, I took to it quite quickly. And so I was able to teach people when I was still a teenager. And all the way through my life, just because of my personality, I'm quite, I'm very creative. My brain works very quickly. So I've got quite a short attention span. And so I tend to come up with lots of ideas and try and do 100 things at once. And so because I'm so obsessed by music and I'm a real perfectionist, when I've spent my professional life as a conductor, as a musical director, working on projects of all kinds of sizes, I'm always obsessed by the detail. And so if I'm rehearsing choirs or I'm rehearsing an orchestra or rehearsing a band, I'm always obsessed by making it better. And so part of my career, a big part of my career, has been working with a lot of community organisations. And the community organisations that particularly I've worked with a lot of community choirs. So certainly in the UK, community choirs, groups of people who come together who aren't professionals, who just are amateurs and love to sing. Coaching groups of those, I've taught choirs of anything from 3 to 300 singers. And when you're coaching 300 singers to sing in perfect time and in perfect tune, it's a really, really powerful and moving thing. And what I started to notice was that it almost didn't matter whether I liked the music I was working on. There was something very, very deeply powerful about a group of people coming together and trying to achieve great music. But there was something deeper than that. Music was doing something to their soul. And so I started to become really fascinated with what happens for people who are creating music, both amateur and professional, when they are creating music that they actually feel. And what I noticed was that if someone feels something, like an emotional connection, and it can be any kind of emotional connection, when they feel an emotional connection, then they put something into the performance, something extra into the performance that is just unteachable. I can't replicate, I can't teach them how to do it, I can't make them do it, I can't help them do it. But if their soul or their mind or their heart feels something that they're performing or they're listening to or they're involved in the creation of, that gives it an extra 10% of something, which is just magic. And you can't sell it, you can't bottle it. I wish I could. And so I started to become more and more fascinated with this. And so a couple of years ago, I set up my own community choir called Sing United in the city where I'm from, which is a city called Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. And very quickly, I had 150 singers in my choir. And the basic principle of Sing United was I wanted to sing music with meaning. That's what I called it. I wanted the music that we were going to sing to have some purpose, to have some cause, to have something that was, working for better for humanity, or telling tales of history or folk tales or real people, real places. I wanted the songs to always mean something. I didn't just want to sing songs for the sake of it. I'd run choirs for other people for 20 years, and if I was going to do something myself, I wanted it to be something a little bit different. I wanted to have a point, to be for something. So that's what Sing United stood for. And what I then started to realise was that gradually over the last couple of years, as more and more people have always said to me, singing in this choir, or the fact, I'm an online piano coach, I've got a membership of people who I teach to play piano online. And people always say, oh, this does me good, it allows me to switch off, or it helps me to relax, or it reduces my anxiety, or you've helped me improve my confidence. And the kind of spin-off benefit that people talk about, the people I work with, because they're not professionals, they're not trying to become professionals is the important point. They're just doing it because they love it. And because they're approaching it in that way, their first requirement is that this is an enjoyable thing to do, and this is going to improve their life. Much more important than, can I be any good at this? That's second. And to sort of conclude the question about when I realised the connection between music and mental health, I feel like it's kind of crept up on me in recent years. But what's been interesting to me is that for me, it was always the music first and the benefit for me second. But as I've watched my career develop and had some challenges in my own life and my own mental health, I've realised that in fact what I do is I help people to feel better, and I help people to improve their mental well-being. It just so happens that music is the vehicle that I use to do it. So I feel like my thinking has reversed, has flipped around, and now I've got a bit of a better understanding about what I do. So I think music and mental health are intrinsically connected for everyone, whether you are performing or listening. And so I've become really interested in bottling that and trying to help people to improve how they use music in that way.
That's amazing. Actually, I'd like to add something from my own experience. I love musicals, music theater, and one of the things I do is educate about toxic relationships and narcissistic abuse. And so in one of my episodes, I try to explain to people what happens in an abusive relationship, the dynamic of how people interact and how the abuser plants ideas inside the head of the victim and literally get under her skin. And so I used Phantom of the Opera. Some of the songs from Phantom of the Opera, The Point of No Return in particular, and I explained it to people, and then I put the music at the end of the song, a link to the song at the end of my episode, and you have no idea how people interacted with it, even those who have never heard anything like that, who are not interested in musical theater or anything, and it definitely conveyed the feelings. So I totally relate to what you say about music being a vehicle for emotions, whether expressing them or experiencing them. And so have you ever come across in your career people who have gotten over trauma or bad experiences through their interest in music, through immersing themselves in music, how music had helped them, drag themselves out of this dark tunnel?
Yeah, absolutely. I heard lots of stories over the years of people who have used music as a way to, almost like a cathartic experience to, if they're feeling a particular pain or grief or whatever, that music has been part of their healing. But what I'm happy to share is that I have had my own experiences of this recently. So 1 year ago, just over 1 year ago, about 10 days before there was the first UK lockdown for the corona crisis, there was a situation where myself and my wife was 22 weeks pregnant, and we ended up losing our baby daughter. And obviously that was a really, really difficult time for us, and continues to be so, because aside from anything else, corona meant that a lot of the support that we might have otherwise had was either different or not possible. We couldn't go to the crematorium for the service. And so obviously we've struggled with our own mental health in the last year. We haven't really felt able to talk about it too much. But for the first 6 months or so, my wife, because of her profession, was unable to work with the corona crisis and the impacts on her industry. And so there was a lot of pressure on me to just keep everything going, as a couple. And, I was happy to do that. So I kind of threw myself into my work, and my busyness kind of went up. So in the last year, I've released a charity single and raised money for several local charities and national charities. I've written a book and released a book. I've recorded an album and written an album, and so I've been extremely busy. My online piano membership is 4 times the size it was when the corona crisis arrived, because so many people suddenly decided what was important to them was finally doing something they'd always wanted to do, i.e. learn to play the piano. So I was really, really busy for the first 6 months. And gradually I started to realise that the grief that we'd experienced in losing our daughter and, everything that was going on with corona was starting to take its toll on me as well. And gradually I started to have increasing issues and was having panic attacks. In fact, I don't mind telling you, I had a panic attack this morning. It's not that I didn't believe panic attacks existed, but until you experience one, you don't really know. But music has really played its part in helping me get through all this. So my brother-in-law and my sister-in-law had a star named after our daughter in the Andromeda system.
Wow,
we got this sort of.
This is amazing. Wow.
Thank you. We got this presentation pack with the chart of the Andromeda system where the star is located. The Laurie Deeks star. She was called Laurie, and those coordinates I've got them tattooed on my arm because I felt like I wanted to have her close to me. There's a symbol on my arm as well, but I don't need to necessarily explain that. But the numbers on my arm are the tattoos of the star. And when I was writing an album last year, I came up with an idea of seeing if I could turn those numbers into a melody and use them. I don't need to explain the sort of music theory way of how I did it, but yes, the numbers are basically turned into a melody. And so one of the songs on the album, which is the last song on the album, the last thing you hear is what is known in my house as Laurie's theme, because the melody of the coordinates, the coordinates of the star has been turned into a melody. So. And that's really therapeutic for me. And I don't mind telling you that when I was in the studio recording that and playing it, as soon as I was finished playing it, I just broke down in tears. My heart was pumping. So
is this what you're going to be playing for us now?
Oh no, I can't let you hear that. That's a secret right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because it's coming out in your album. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But the album will come out at the end of later this year. And music has absolutely played its part in that, because by being able to create that piece of music that involves my daughter in that way, that's always going to be really personal for me, and I that will it's literally the heart on my sleeve in terms of the tattoo, and it's on my album, and that I'll be able to hold on vinyl forever, kind of thing. So yeah, I can't be the only person where. Well, I know I'm not. Millions of people have told me over the years that music plays a part in helping them, but that's as I say, having had my own personal experiences now, I can honestly tell you that's really helped me.
Would you like to play something for us now that means something to you for a few minutes before we wrap up the recording and start taking questions?
Yeah, sure, no problem. So a few years ago, I released a couple of solo piano albums, original piano music, and I'm really interested in music that represents where it's from, music that has the identity of the land it came from or the people that it came from. And of course, we can see examples of that all over the world in terms of various kinds of folk music or whatever, for example. But because I was writing instrumental music, I couldn't do that through the lyrics. So what I decided to do was I asked a friend of mine who is a linguistics expert, a language expert in the old dialect of Northumbria, which is the county that I'm from. It used to be the kingdom of Northumbria, hundreds and hundreds of years ago. And the old dialect of Northumbria, what I did was I took all of the words that I wanted the titles of the pieces to be, and asked him what would these words have been in the dialect of Northumbria at that time. So the album's called Light Burst, and in the old dialect that's Lecht Blessed. And so I'm happy to play a little bit of this, and I just encourage people to. You don't need to know what Northumbria is like, but if you want to look up Northumbria, it's a very beautiful sort of countryside, a lot of countryside around where we're from, very green, and hills and lakes and castles and stuff. But I'm going to play a little bit of Light Burst for you, and I would encourage you to, just for 2 minutes. This is why I always encourage people to close your eyes, let your mind wander and see where this little piece of tune takes you. So this is a little bit of Light Burst.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Mark. That was really, really, really touching.
You're very
And
welcome.
before we go, you are preparing to host the very first World Piano Day on Clubhouse. So tell us here what you're going to request from people who are listening to us now to help you.
Thank you very much. So yeah, the World Piano Day happens every year on the 88th day of the year to represent the 88 keys of the piano. And of course, this is the first World Piano Day where Clubhouse has really been a thing. So I thought, wouldn't it be great if we could bring together 88 people to celebrate the piano here on Clubhouse, whether they are performers, composers, musical directors, just fans of piano music, teachers, people who use piano in music therapy, and so on, all kinds of different angles, because obviously I'm passionate about this connection between music and mental health. And so, what I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to find 88 people who would like to be involved. The 88th day of the year is a week on Monday. It's the 29th of March. And we're going to be running from 8 a.m. UK time until 8 a.m. UK time for 24 hours. So people in different time zones are of real interest to me right now. And whether you are, as I say, a performer, a composer, or just a fan, anyone who loves the piano, I would like people to come together and share it. And so what we're going to do is we're going to have Clubhouse is going to be the main platform where the different events are happening. We've got one or two famous keyboard players who are going to come and do some sessions. We've got teachers in different parts of the world who are going to come and talk about what it's like to teach where they're from. We've got some music therapists. We've got the UK's largest music therapy charity, Norbert Robbins. They're going to be the official sort of charity for the event so that we can try and raise some money for them. And so, yeah, anyone who wants to be part of it, it's #WorldPiano88. And we'd love people to connect with me here on Clubhouse, of course. Feel free to hit the bell next to my profile so you know when I'm speaking and when things are happening. And join the Music and Mental Health Club, which is my club here on Clubhouse. And, of course, if you want to take part, do send me a message on Instagram or Twitter as soon as you can, because we've only got 7 days. So, yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity.
You're welcome, Mark, and please count me in. And I'm going to be sharing the links to all your social media in the description of the video when I put it up on my YouTube channel. And definitely count me in. I'd love to participate in any way possible. Thank you so much, Mark, for being with us. And I wish you the best of luck in whatever you do and in the World Piano Day coming up. And we love to host you back again.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Sahar and I'm done speaking.